because I took it going to Tampa, and my stomach, I was in the fetal position, like in a fucking ball on the airplane on the way to Tampa, and I was like, I couldn't even, like, I had to shit, and I couldn't even get up. I was in so much fucking pain.
Joshua says, it would be awesome if the two of you went over PEDs that females can use without a high risk of virilization or masculinization. You guys
I just want to say right off the bat, I feel like that's totally dose dependent, because I have girls sometimes, you know, start seeing side effects at 10 milligrams. Some of them don't see nothing at 20 milligrams of Anavar. So that's something that I feel is definitely...
Yeah, that's true. But isn't the question compound wise?
Yeah, compound wise. They're asking.
Okay.
I would say Anavar, Austrian, Rad 140. Those are the three that I like to rotate with females. Is it doesn't really seem to cause them any side effects at all at moderate dosages.
Do females use Primo?
Yeah, they do.
Low dose Primo is very popular, especially maybe not in bikini, but like figure, super popular.
It gets girls in a lot of trouble though, because most Primo is fake. Most Primo is fake, so they think they're taking Primo and they're all like test pro.
Yeah, they're shooting fucking test pro.
Their tits are like fucking all blown up and shit.
I know.
Actually, I really would trust Boston's advice on this, because your wife doesn't have that voice that a lot of other people have.
I made sure when she was in the fitness industry, I made sure all of her stuff was farm grade, like her Anavar and stuff. And dude, don't get me wrong, before me and her got together, her coach had her on Tren. Dude, she was on more Winstrol than me. He had her on injectable Winstrol at 21 years old. Injectable Winstrol, 50 mg every other day. He had her on Tren, Test Prop. Then get this, when she asked about Anavar, he's like, you can't take Anavar, it'll make you manly. The guy I swear to God, dude, this guy he wanted to ruin her.
Dude, advising a female to take Tren, it's not even like there's a possibility it may aromatize. No, it's like you're drinking the poison. This is like the worst thing a female could take.
So she got lucky, Leo. So she got out, early. She realized real quick, she only did that for a few months. Wow. And then when me and her got together, I made sure everything was pharmaceutical grade, with her.
Were you getting the ampules, Boston?
Yeah. So for her, we were doing the Bayer Primo.
Yeah.
We tested everything for her. With me, I just would shoot anything. But for her, we would make sure her fucking shit was all good, man.
I don't know about in your neck of the woods, Boston, but here there's a lot of fake Bayers floating around.
Oh, dude, the Bayer I've used fake Bayer Proviron. It had nothing in it, and there's so much fake Bayer Primo amps out there. It's ridiculous. If anyone buys Primo amps, make sure to test them on like a Lab Max test, not a Dave Palumbo test kit, because those are their colors are too close. But Primo Lab Max app, because most of them are test probe, dude. Those Bayer ampules.
I believe it. And they're selling for $20 a pop.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You should be able to tell though if you're taking test prop instead of Primo, right? But especially the Proviron.
Men do, because they just get like a boost and they think it's working.
Yeah, if you're
the problem is, Leo, with females, once they start figuring out maybe it's not Primo, the side effects are already like maybe irreversible by that point, right?
God damn, imagine a poor woman taking... Well, Winstrol is crazy, and Tren was crazy. Do you think he was lying to her when he said the Anavar would... Or were you stupid?
No, like he wanted to ruin her. Like
he was trying to...
he wanted to fuck... Dude, because like...
He tried picking her up and it didn't go well, and he's like, fuck you kind of thing.
They were intimate. He was way older. He was married. He was way older. He was in his late 30s. She was a very young... these girls, man. She was 20. She got influenced by a guy who just, was power and control. He wanted all that shit, like the muscle, and he wanted to fuck her up, man.
Crazy.
It's sad to hear.
All right. So a guy's name I can't pronounce, starts with an X. If a name starts with an X, what do? It's excellence, whatever. Anyway, he's asking, what's the best anti-aging and anti-inflammatory drug? I think there's no such thing as the best, but I think the most promising anti-aging drug probably is right now is the
GH?
No, I think GH is a aging drug. Is an aging drug, because this is how I think of GH. This is the way I think of it, and sometimes I think it's like people don't realize that in our body, we have a limited amount of stem cells. And your cells, throughout your life, they commit hyperplasia, they divide only a certain number of times. They can only reach around 40-something times before that cell reaches a dead end. It either dies, apoptosis, or it does it becomes senescent. Senescent cells, they cause your body to secrete inflammatory cytokines to deal with them. It's been shown, by the way, in like 70-year-old women, if you inject them in their knees with a senolytic, something that kills senescent cells, even if they have no cartilage, their pain will go away from their knee. So senescent cells are not something you want. When you take GH as an adult, you're putting fire on that. You're telling your body, divide. No, you're either going to go to senescence or death. There's nowhere else.
What dosage range are you referring to?
Anything that just like increasing growth hormone.
What do I use? Like, I'm not saying for bodybuilding purposes. I was more suggesting that anyone, like, let's say 40 plus that wants to take, 2 IUs, maybe 1 to 2 IUs 5-6 days a week to feel that fountain of youth side effect, right?
So there's a couple of things there. Now, I should mention that when you're in your above the age of 60, it may be helpful to have growth hormone because it's good for your heart and for your brain at that age. A little bit of like 2 units or something like that, maybe. And
your body's not producing next to none.
Yeah, but just to put in perspective, obviously you may feel better on growth hormone, but what we do, people like me, is instead of using growth hormone, we actually take the drug I was about to mention is the opposite of growth hormone. It's called rapamycin. Rapamycin blocks all your body's growth pathways. It turns everything off. You can inject growth hormone, it will do nothing for you if you take rapamycin. So rapamycin, there are analogs of rapamycin that are being developed. They're called rapalogs that will turn off your growth pathways, hopefully turning off what's called mTORC1, but not mTORC2. Turning off mTORC1 extends life in humans. If you turn off their growth pathway in a mouse, if you do this every so often, the mouse life will expand by 40% or so. And the same thing can happen if you starve the mouse. So restricting calories turns off the growth pathways. So people who are trying to live very long, we're trying to turn off growth. But the biggest scam on earth is this growth hormone extends life. It actually just makes you feel better, probably shortens your life.
Mike, I think what Mike's saying is not like looks wise, but
feeling,
growth hormone is a youth drug is maybe as a physical. Physical, like skin, hair, nails.
Yes.
But not as far as actually putting years on your life.
Right.
So they call this, now there's a new term they call health span, which means like a mixture of how you feel, like healthy lifespan, like how you feel, because you don't want to live forever and feel like crap. So if you're feeling crap and growth hormone is making you feel better and you may give off some years, that's a choice you make, obviously. But what I was thinking is the most promising drugs are probably the ones that shut off the growth pathways. Like metformin does that. But rapamycin does that more.
Yeah, but do you think metformin, that's a really big debate in the bodybuilding world because some of the biggest guys I know love metformin. Do you think if you're taking exogenous growth hormone, that metformin will crush your growth hormone still, or no?
No, it's not strong enough to do that. If you're taking anabolics and growth hormone, it's not going to do anything. What it's going to do is help you shuttle glycogen into your muscle.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you because Dave Palumbo thinks it shuts off.
It's not strong enough. I've taken metformin for 4 years. I took metformin when I was on anabolics, when I was on growth hormone.
Did you notice, Leo? Did you notice any side effects of your stomach hurting? Because I took it going to Tampa, and my stomach, I was in the fetal position, like in a fucking ball on the airplane on the way to Tampa, and I was like, I couldn't even I had to shit, and I couldn't even get up. I was in so much fucking pain.
How
much were you taking? How much were you taking? I
don't remember, but I remember at the time I told my coach, let's just start low. I mean, I like to start low with everything and see how I adapt. And I think it was like a half a pill, man. And I was fucking dying.
If it was your first couple times using it, it's your body getting used to it. 100% that happens.
Yeah. I cut off at that point. I'm like, what am I going to do this before I go on stage? I won't even be able to move out of this position. I can't even do a front relax with that amount of pain.
Boston's exactly right. So when you first start, you have to start at such a low dose. Basically, the main effect is GI distress. So when you start, you try to use the lowest dose where you don't notice GI distress. So you start 100 milligrams, then you go to 300 when you don't notice anything, then you raise it. It immediately causes GI distress. That's the major issue it does.